When people think of America, what comes to mind can be different depending on their generation. For some, it might remind them of the changes and freedom of the 1960s and 1970s. But for many in the 1980s, the Twin Towers in New York City were a symbol of success and opportunity. The Twin Towers were part of the World Trade Center complex, located in the heart of Manhattan's financial district. Though the World Trade Center referred to the entire complex, the Twin Towers were the most well-known because of their size, importance, and unique design. Finished in 1973, the Twin Towers quickly became a symbol of America's strength and success. They represented the country's growth and its promise of prosperity. But why were they built? How did they become so important to American culture? And what lasting impact did they have? The genesis of the Twin Towers. The history of the Twin Towers dates back to the post-World War II era, when America was emerging as a superpower with growing economic and political influence. The need for a symbol of this newfound dominance prompted discussions about creating a large-scale world-class structure in New York City. It was a time of optimism in America, with the economy booming and the country eager to build more as a testament to its strength and opportunity. It wasn't until the mid-1950s that the concept of the World Trade Center truly began to take shape. The vision was clear: a grand structure that could house offices, serve as a hub for international trade, and bring in tourism. The key player behind this idea was David Rockefeller, grandson of the renowned industrialist John D. Rockefeller, who had established the famous Rockefeller Center in Manhattan. David Rockefeller, having just completed the Chase Manhattan Bank Tower, saw the potential for another major project that could surpass anything before it. Rockefeller's connections with political figures in New York, particularly his brother Nelson Rockefeller, who was the governor at the time, helped him secure the necessary backing for the project. The Port Authority of New York, a government entity responsible for the city's infrastructure, became a crucial partner in the creation of the World Trade Center. Despite early financial struggles, political scandals, and technical challenges, the project eventually moved forward, with construction beginning in 1966. The construction process. Building the Twin Towers was an extraordinary feat of engineering and architecture. Designed by the architect Minoru Yamasaki, the towers were revolutionary in their design. The initial stages of construction were not without difficulty. The project was delayed by nearly a decade due to financial and political struggles, but construction eventually proceeded, and the towers were completed in 1973. At the time, the Twin Towers were the largest buildings in the world, and their scale was unmatched. Standing 110 stories tall, they redefined the skyline of New York City. The tower's construction utilized cutting-edge technology and design features that were ahead of their time, making them symbols of modernity. One of the most notable features of the towers was their innovative structural design. Unlike other skyscrapers of the era, which were built with a traditional steel frame, the Twin Towers employed a tube frame design. The building's outer walls were made of closely spaced steel columns, allowing for more interior space without sacrificing strength. The result was a sturdier building with an open floor plan that made it highly desirable for commercial use. Architectural innovations. The Twin Towers were not just functional but also technologically advanced. For example, the Sky Lobby, located on the 78th floor of Two World Trade Center, was designed to save time for tenants and workers. Instead of traveling through multiple elevators to reach the higher floors, visitors could take an express elevator to the Sky Lobby, where they would switch to another set of elevators for the remaining floors. This system greatly reduced wait times and made the building more efficient. The symbolism of the Twin Towers. Despite initial criticism, the Twin Towers slowly became embraced as a symbol of New York and America as a whole. Over time, they became an integral part of the city's identity, providing office space for thousands of businesses and becoming a hub for international trade. The sheer size and presence of the towers made them visible from almost every corner of Manhattan, and their dominance of the skyline made them an iconic landmark. The economic impact of the Twin Towers was significant. By offering vast office space, the towers attracted major companies and fostered an environment of growth and opportunity. As the buildings became more synonymous with prosperity, they also became cultural icons. They appeared in numerous films, TV shows, music videos, and commercials, cementing their status as symbols of American ambition. However, the towers' cultural impact was not limited to just New York. They became recognized worldwide, much like the Eiffel Tower in Paris, as a symbol of modernity and strength. The sight of the Twin Towers, whether through the lens of a movie camera or as part of the New York skyline, became synonymous with American dominance and the promise of a brighter future. The tragic end and the cultural impact. Of course, the Twin Towers story is not complete without addressing the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. The terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center not only led to the collapse of the Twin Towers, but also marked a dramatic turning point in American history. The destruction of the towers symbolized the loss of an era of seemingly endless prosperity and optimism. The buildings that had once symbolized opportunity were now reduced to rubble, and in their place, grief and uncertainty took root. The attacks reshaped America's identity, marking the end of the 1990s cultural golden age. The towers' destruction served as a stark reminder that nothing lasts forever, and the promise of prosperity is fragile. However, their legacy has lived on through the New World Trade Center complex, which now includes the One World Trade Center building, designed as a symbol of resilience and renewal. In the years following the tragedy, the memory of the Twin Towers became a potent symbol of loss and hope. Their presence may have been taken for granted in the years before 2001, but in their absence, Americans were forced to confront the role the towers played in shaping the nation's identity. They were not merely office buildings, but symbols of what America stood for: opportunity, ambition, and the belief that the sky was the limit. The Twin Towers of New York were more than just monumental skyscrapers. They were a manifestation of America's economic and cultural strength. From their innovative design and construction to their eventual place as an international symbol of prosperity, the towers played a critical role in defining the American experience of the late 20th century. While their physical presence may be gone, the memory of the Twin Towers remains a significant part of American history, serving as both a symbol of what was lost and a reminder of the resilience and spirit that define the nation.